This has been quite a long time since I've made a video. Sorry for the lack of uploads over the past like 4 months. However, 2020, new year, new me. Let's get straight into this video. Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how I set up and film my videos for 2020. So let's get straight into it. But before I get into the main part of this video, I just want to go over the camera equipment that I use to film these videos. So starting off with the main camera body, and that is the Canon 700D. Now this is a really good beginner's camera, and the reason why I say it's a really good beginner's camera is because it has full manual mode for so I can control ISO, aperture, shutter speed, everything, white balance, custom white balance. It is a really good camera. And it has all the features of a DSLR, like interchangeable lenses. Also, it has a fully rotatable and flip out screen, which is very useful for actually filming these videos. However, it only has a 80 megapixel cropped CMOS sensor and can only shoot 1080p at 30 FPS. So it's a really good beginner's camera. However, I do want to go into more of the professional camera bodies. Well, speaking of professional, the lens that I use on this camera, oh my god, it is the god lens. It is the Sigma 18-35mm f1.8 constant aperture. Now I've seen this this lens on 600Ds, which are the camera body below my camera. I've seen it on 1DXs, which are professional sports photography cameras. I've seen this on a Red Weapon, which is a 50 grand cinema camera. Like, this lens is beautiful, and the reason why it is so popular is because it's like having a prime lens that can zoom because of the constant f1.8 aperture, and also the quality of the glass is actually really good. And it is actually pretty cheap if you look at more of the professional cameras, which are always a grand plus, and whilst this lens is only £800 recommended retail price, but you can find it for £600 on Amazon like I did. Now that lens, I recommend it. It's beautiful. That's it. Now to record audio, I just have a simple Rode Video Mic Go, and that just plugs into my camera. It's quite a simple setup. Even when my camera body does have a flip out screen, which is very useful, I do still have a newer 7.5NW 7-inch on-field monitor, because it's just, well, first of all, it's larger, so I get to see my face in a bigger picture, which is always a good thing, but also it has useful things like focus assist, false colors. Also I can use histograms, and it's nicer to see it on a bigger display than on a smaller display. And then now for my favorite part about photography and filming, that is the lighting. And now for the lighting, I use, my main light is a Best Studio softbox light. It is very good. It's just a standard softbox light, which you can never complain about, because softbox lights are the best. They have a lot of light coming out of them as they're very big. Also, they have the softbox design, so it is very nicely diffused. Oh, I'm getting quite bright now. That's because it's sunny day. Sorry if the lighting changes. Now for my secondary light, I'd recommend this light to anyone that doesn't want to get a softbox light, or if anyone wants to have more creativity in their lighting. And my secondary light is the Yongnuo YN360. Now this light is everything you need. It is RGB, it is LED, it also has 5500 Kelvin and 3200 Kelvin, and you can diffuse between both of them to get the perfect lights that you want. It also can be portable and also plugged into the wall. Also, just to add, it has an app. The app's not the best app, however it's still an app to control a light. It is pretty useful, and also even if you don't use the app, the controls on the physical light is actually quite good as well. Okay, so moving on to the tripod and the equipment that I use to actually mount my equipment onto whatever it is. Now the tripod that I use to hold up my camera, I haven't found on Amazon, but there is another version of it. So I got the one that goes up to 1.85 meters and can hold 8 kilograms worth of camera equipment. However, the only one that they're selling on Amazon goes up to 1.7 meters and can hold 10 kilograms of camera equipment, so it's slightly shorter but can hold more. It doesn't have a specific name that I can find. However, I'll put a link in the description to it. It's a really good tripod. It has a really nice fluid head on it, so you can get nice smooth shots. Also, it's really sturdy because I've got quite a heavy camera and accessories on it. So to hold up my microphone and my monitor, I have two newer 7-inch friction arms. Now they're very good and very versatile, especially if you're like me and you can't be asked to get a boom arm or a stand for your monitor. However, the only issue that I've had with them is that over time the actual friction between the arms does loosen a bit, so they can't really take on that many heavy loads. However, they're still very useful. Now let's set up all my camera equipment to make a shot like this. So the first thing that you should always think about is composition. Now in these YouTube videos, composition isn't that important. It's pretty much, what do I want to have in my background, and where do I want to sit in the shot, and also what type, am I sitting down or I'm standing up. Those are the only really three things that you need to think about when you're doing the composition, because it's not really like in a movie where you have to portray motion unless you're doing a movie on YouTube, but these just sat down videos. It's just me talking. I just like to have a cool background, and I like to either be standing or sitting up. So for this shot, I like to have my light in the background. Now I do prefer to film at night time because I have a lot more control of the lighting, and also these lights here are much more powerful because it's dark outside, and right now it's a really sunny day, so it's kind of been overblown by the natural sunlight. And then also I always like to be in the middle of the shot because I'm the most important person. I'm the person speaking to you. Sometimes I think sitting to the side makes it a bit more interesting, however it's not that important. And then with me standing up or sitting down, that's just me changing the height of my tripod. So setting the composition for my videos is just basically me putting my camera onto my tripod, and then I set up the height of the tripod, and then I figure out what I want in and out of my shot, and if I want to be standing up or sitting down. That's really it. Nothing too important. Okay, so once I've got the composition ready and I know what's going to be in the shot, I now need to light my shot. Now, I mainly use a 2 light setup, which is going to be my Best Studio softbox light. I like to set up onto the right side of me, and I like to have it slightly higher than me, so it casts a light downwards, and I have shadow over here and under here. I believe this type of lighting is called Rembrandt lighting, after the French painter. I believe he was French. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the type of lighting that he used to light his portrait that he did. I think this is just like the standard way of lighting your videos, because I like it because it adds a bit more depth than just having a full-on just lighting all this way and I'm perfectly lit all around it. It adds a bit more contrast to it. Now the second part of my lighting is probably my favourite because I get to like use some more creativity in it, and that is when I set up my Yongnuo YN360. Now because it's RGB, I get to pick whatever colour I want. Usually I go for blue or pink because those are usually contrasting to the backgrounds in to the colours in the background, and then I usually just set it. Right now I have it quite direct, like parallel to the side of me. Sometimes I set it behind me a bit so I get more of a hair light, and to the sides. However, if I turn it off there, you get to see how the lighting works this way. And then if I turn this one on and I turn my softbox off, you get to see how the lighting works on this side of my face. I think this is probably the best type of shots that I like to light the most. Like, this is my favourite way of lighting. And I am looking to get a hair light, which is a third one, which would go up behind me here and shine down, and it gives me a bit more, it kind of separates me from the background better, but I don't have one at the moment. Okay, so the third part is probably my least favourite part to do, because that's just really just setting things up, and that is to set up my microphone and my monitor. To do my microphone, I just attach the Rode Video Mic Go onto the friction arm, attach the friction arm onto my tripod, and then I set up the microphone so it's as close to me as possible, however it's out of frame. As you can see, if I move it here, you see it's just right under there, and then I plug it into my camera directly. And then to set up my monitor, it's the same thing. I attach it onto the cord shoe of my camera, and then I also actually have it so my monitor's flipped. However, I do have it in the settings so the image is flipped, so I can actually tell what I'm looking at, and it's not upside down. Now, as I've said earlier, this isn't what it usually looks like. So I do like to film at nighttime just because all the lighting is so much more predominant and it just looks so much better. However, I did have to record during the day today, which is a bit annoying, but you still get to see the effects of it. But it's just not as bright as usual. I will actually show at the end what it does look like at nighttime, because I think that does make it look a lot more special. Okay, so that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did and you found it useful, give this video a like, and if you're new here, subscribe. I do try to upload. It may not look like it, but I do try. Comment down below if you have any requests for any videos that you want to see, and hopefully in the future I'm going to do a bit more of an in-depth video on like each individual part of me setting up to film. Maybe I want to do a video about the settings of my camera. I want to do a video more about lighting and different types of lighting, because in this video I only really showed you one. I want to do a video on like composition. I would like to do an actual in-depth review of my lens and of these lights and of the monitor and of my microphone, everything like that. So hopefully that is to come in the future. And of course, if you're new here and you like what you see, subscribe, and if you like what you hear about what will come in the future, subscribe. 2020 is hopefully going to be a good year, and actually I'm going to upload on my channel this year, yeah, because I didn't really do much in 2019. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, smash a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Adios, amigos. Epic. It's now night time, and as you can tell it looks a lot nicer when it's dark, because there's actually depth between me and the background isn't like outblown with light and everything, and you can actually see that there's depth between me and the background because I'm well lit and the background's not, and I think it just looks a lot nicer at night time because everything is so much more prominent and actually powerful.